Hollywood Brown is an Arizona Cardinal. He's
Hollywood
reconnecting with K1 Kyler Murray, the cockroach himself, Hollywood. And K1 is out in the desert. In 2021, 91 receptions, 146 targets, over 1,000 yards. Finished wide receiver 22. Missed one game, meaning he probably would have finished a lot higher as well if Lamar Jackson did not miss basically the second half of the season. This is a very interesting trade. He got traded in the NFL draft. I think it was a 23rd pick, first-round pick for Hollywood Brown, if I'm not mistaken. Zach, this is your boy, a guy we've both been raving about in the offseason.
Yeah.
Are you buying or selling?
I kept saying his value was way too low in startups and trade talks, and I kept encouraging people to buy him, and I hope that people were able to do that. But buying meaning I want to trade for him. Selling meaning I want to get value now and trade him away. I am buying. Yes, I am buying. And look, it comes down to what does the community think? And looking at a bunch of crowdsourcing websites, everyone pretty much has him as wide receiver 27. Well, guess what he is in my rankings? Wide receiver 27, which means I feel like the value is not too high, not too low. I think it's a great time to go get proper value, and probably some win-win trades are out there.
Probably.
But let's talk about this. Number one, the college connection. All right. Does anyone remember back in 2018 when Kyler Murray won the Heisman Trophy with 54 total touchdowns?
Wow.
Who were the guys in that offense?
Wow.
Well, CeeDee Lamb was there. CeeDee Lamb was there, but also Hollywood Brown. And honestly, Hollywood Brown was his go-to target in that offense. You can actually see Hollywood's stats in 2017 and 2018. In 2017, Kyler was only playing half the year, but in 2018, he was the full starter. So you can see the special season that Hollywood had in 2018. 75 receptions, 1,300 yards, and 10 touchdowns. I mean, that is special numbers in the NFL. Keep in mind, they're not playing the same amount of games. 75 receptions, 1,300 yards. That is very, very impressive season for someone in college football. Special connection in college. It will be a special connection in the NFL. Let's talk about now in the NFL what his role will look like in the offense. Well, before the D-Hop suspension, I was already excited, okay? I was already excited. I remember recording a reaction video after draft night 1 saying how much I loved this move. And now we get no D-Hop for the first 7 weeks. I don't think that necessarily hurts him or helps him, but it definitely helps his target share. We have to all agree there. So for me, the way I look at Hollywood Brown is Brown will be for Kyler Murray what Christian Kirk could never be.
No doubt.
Okay? Christian Kirk could never do what Hollywood Brown can now offer Kyler Murray. Hollywood will be the feature weapon in this offense. Screens, sweeps, the deep ball, slants, right? He will flourish in this offense, which, by the way, we just made a buy or sell on A.J. Brown. Don't know when we're going to release it, but we're talking about him moving from a run-focused offense to a run-focused offense. How about Hollywood Brown moving from a run-focused offense to an air raid offense, offense that throws the ball a lot? And by the way, you know, I know Badake has this just unexplainable hate for Kyler Murray.
When you hate a person, you just hate him for no reason. And
no reason.
And that's Kyler Murray for me.
There are quite a few people out there who feel the same way, I've started to realize. But despite all of you haters, let's talk about Kyler Murray, okay? Because he just had career bests in season wins, completion percentage, yards per game, touchdown percentage, and interception rate. So for all the hate of Kyler Murray, he just had one of his best years ever despite being injured, okay? And lastly, the reason I'm comfortable to buy Hollywood is he's 24 years old and there's absolutely security for Hollywood Brown. Let me be very clear. If the Cardinals spent a first-round pick and decided not to extend Hollywood Brown, that would go down as the worst trade in the history of their franchise. So if you're sitting there thinking, well, they extended the 5th-year option, but there's no contract extension yet. Yes, I understand that, but that is a given. Hollywood will be extended. I am 99% sure. I give the 1% because anything can happen in the NFL. But they sent a first-round pick for him. One of the cheapest players that can extend your Super Bowl window, a first-round pick. There will be an extension. Otherwise, this will be mocked at by the entire NFL for the Cardinals.
Probably.
Last thing I'll say is if Hollywood's healthy, all 17 games, you can lock in 85 receptions, over 1,000 yards, and 8 touchdowns. You can lock it in. You can lock in a top 18 finish for Hollywood Brown. So for me, I love it. I feel confident in him, and I'm okay with the price point at this point. But before I say what the price point should be, Badake, do you want to buy Hollywood or do you want to sell him? I'm very curious because you have this undying hate for Kyler Murray.
Okay, let me just clarify. I like Kyler Murray as a talent. He is phenomenal. He's still my top 5 QB, no doubt about it. I would never knock his talent.
Anytime we're watching Kyler Murray play, Badake's like, oh, fuck this guy. Like, he's like, look at him just running around.
He looks like a little cockroach with his little legs. Like, ooh, and then every time
he's just very good at running and 100%. Avoiding tackles.
And I give him props for that. He is very good at that. And he's a very great passer.
Hollywood.
Anyways, I am selling Hollywood Brown. This is another guy, once again, kind of similar to A.J. Brown. It's a risk aversion. There's so many things that I am worried about. But my biggest thing is there's 2 big reasons. Is the target share, where there's so many amounts to feed, and then the contract extension, where kind of Zach touched on, which is a good point. But for me, is the mouths to feed. A.J. Brown, Rondale Moore, D-Hop, Zach Ertz, all these guys are still here. Rondale Moore's in the slot. Obviously, they extended Zach Ertz, and then A.J. Green for another year, which I do believe he will be there and take targets. He was demanding a lot of targets this past year. And not to mention the running backs as well in the backfield. I mean, I can really break it down, but what I'm going to do is give Zach that stat so he can kind of post it in the video so you can see there's a lot of targets. And Christian Kirk the year before he got traded, I think if I'm not mistaken, 109 targets. That 103 targets, excuse me. That is what, once again, Hollywood Brown can do, and I think we'll probably be able to get if
easily
100% with D-Hop there or not there in the first 7 games. But I think it's going to be those 6 to 7 weeks when D-Hop is not there is going to be a smokescreen. Everyone's going to be loving Hollywood Brown. I'm going to be loving Hollywood Brown. I'm probably going to want Hollywood Brown the first 7 weeks and try to trade him away because that's how much I see his value changing drastically in the second half of the season. So if I can either hold now or sell in the season, I am definitely doing that, okay? And Zach brought up a good point with the contract extension. It's a first-round pick. For me, I still want security in a player that I am going to pursue, especially someone like a Hollywood Brown. He is 24 years old. What if they say, you know what? We're just going to flip him again for another first. He goes back to a run. Well, we saw. The
only reason they got a first for him was because of the Kyler connection.
I also think
no one else would have sent a first for Hollywood.
I also believe that they got a first because they didn't want anyone else on our damn board. Because I feel like they were truly trying to get a wide receiver. There were so many reports saying that they were really wanting a wide receiver, and if they couldn't get one here, clearly they got Hollywood Brown, and why not get the connection with Kyler? But once again, it's just risk aversion. I do not want to have somebody that is not well. 1, he's not the main focus. 2, his contract is not there. And the targets, okay? D-Hop demands 150 targets, where Hollywood Brown, I agree, he could get the 85 targets that you said. But I would rather have I just would rather have other people. I truly would.
So, to be clear, an almost 31 years old DeAndre Hopkins, a 32-plus-year-old A.J. Green, these are the people that scare you.
Yes. Zach Ertz scared me. James Conner scared me. Keontae Ingram scared me. Like
Keontae Ingram scares you for Hollywood. Come on, bro. We are reaching here.
Combined last year, the running backs total with Chase Edmonds and James Conner, 92 targets.
So the problem is, like, I think Hollywood's career trajectory would look so different if he started on the Cardinals.
No doubt, like, for sure.
It's just, I feel like not all of us. I think we're undervaluing Hollywood, saying
I think his value is up there.
He's gonna struggle for targets because of D-Hop and AJ and
look. So I guess let me clarify a little bit. I think he will get his targets. Kyler Murray knows how to spread the ball around. You're right. He is going to a more efficient passing team.
In a higher passing, like they pass the ball way more than the Ravens do. 100%.
But like, I think if you look at it, why not sell him? Because this is all about risk aversion and value. Why not try and sell Hollywood Brown in the first 6 weeks and flip him for another first in 2023? I guess we go straight into value here. Yeah,
let's talk about his value.
Because that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about flipping Hollywood. I'm not saying I'm. For real, for sure, I am worried about the targets. I am worried about the contract. But why not flip him? Because I do believe you can get somebody even better than Hollywood, maybe in a better offense. Maybe you can get some pick compensation because they say, you know what, I don't know if he's going to I don't know if he's going to re-sign with the contract. So that's how I'm thinking. Risk aversion, and so why not and see if you can get some more value out of Hollywood Brown?
So what are you expecting to get for Hollywood then if you're going to sell it?
Right. So there's a couple different things. Maybe guys I believe in. All these can be in a futuristic pick, maybe a win now scenario. So I think of Rashad Bateman. Maybe you can get. I think that's an even trade straight up. Rashad Bateman or Hollywood Brown. I still would take Rashad Bateman. I would take Sky Moore, someone that's going to a Chiefs team with Patrick Mahomes and some more. You know, if you're a win now team, maybe take Allen Robinson. Going with Matthew Stafford and some more. Maybe that's early second, or whatever the case may be. And Devonta Smith. I know that's a bit of a risk. This is a risk pick, the Devonta Smith, Hollywood Brown. But that's how I'm thinking. That's how I'm thinking right now. Because I do have Devonta Smith higher in my rankings than Hollywood Brown.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's an interesting conversation there. Look, I'll just say this. I really think we're all missing the fact that Hollywood just broke out last year. He just completely broke out. Now he's heading to a better quarterback and a better passing offense. But look, I don't feel like this doesn't feel like a picks trade for me. This feels like a player swap. Okay. So if I'm looking to buy him, the first name on my list was Devonta Smith. Do I feel like I said in the AJ Brown video, Devonta Smith last year without AJ Brown, it was extremely inconsistent. Every week you were like, do I start him? Do I sit him? I remember I looked up the stat, 5 games under 3 points. Okay. 5 games under 3 points. It was extremely inconsistent for Devonta Smith. So if I have Devonta Smith, I am 1,000% happy to move him for Hollywood Brown. Give me Hollywood Brown over Devonta. Give me Hollywood Brown over Amon-Ra, over Mike Evans, over Keenan Allen, over Darnell Mooney. These are the kind of players that I feel like I can trade to go out and get Hollywood Brown, who, by the way, 24 years old and just had his over, I believe his first season over, I think it was 90 receptions, 1,000 yards. So I think he broke out, and I think the way really undervaluing how much it says that Kyler wanted him this bad. You know, we kept seeing Kyler wanted CD. Well, the Cowboys weren't going to give CD. Well, Kyler also wanted Hollywood, and Hollywood wanted to be there. I think that this is a mutually beneficial relationship. I think so. And Hollywood, think about it from Hollywood's perspective. He doesn't want to sign a contract yet. He sees a wide receiver market. He's thinking, oh my God, can you imagine what I can do with Kyler Murray in this offense? Give me a contract next season, because next season I will be probably a top 5 paid wide receiver in the NFL based off of how they're gonna have to pay, current trends are going.
If I'm not mistaken, they're going to have to pay Kyler and Hollywood next year.
Yeah, but let me just probably get Kyler extension done now.
Let me just say this though, another thing, because this is what I was thinking about when you were doing your take. Hollywood Brown. One thing you said, Hollywood Brown is a better Christian Kirk for sure. He's going to do what Christian Kirk couldn't do.
They're not even in the same stratosphere.
Yes. Yeah, and he's going to do what Christian Kirk couldn't do. Christian Kirk finished wide receiver 26. Hollywood Brown this past year, wide receiver 22. I think he will still stay in that range. He will probably stay from, at best, maybe this year I see, 17 to 22. That's why I feel comfortable with Hollywood.
That's why I said top 18 lock. But I mean, you don't. It's not as if you are sitting like multiple firsts for Hollywood Brown. I think he's an affordable starter for your team. So yeah, I think it's healthy expectations that he's a top 18 finish next year. I'll say this: if he plays every single game, I feel like I could lock in top 15.
Right.
And that's a very valuable player for your team.
It's interesting.
All right, let's talk about startup value. For me, ideally, mid 6th to 7th round is where I'm comfortable drafting him. I think he's ideally a wide receiver 3 on your team.
Yeah, that's where he's been going. I actually feel more comfortable taking him mid 7th, mid to late 7th. I would just based on everything that I've said, I just feel more comfortable taking some other people over Hollywood Brown.
Yeah. Okay. It is a very interesting conversation. Let us know what your thoughts are. The player that I've loved.
I still love Hollywood. That's the thing. I still love the guy.
I said you love him. I know,
man. It's tough.
But I just feel like
I'd rather be wrong.
I almost wonder
I'll be okay
if
to be wrong.
Part of your hate of Kyler Murray is feeding into this take.
No, it's not even that. It's not even that. Like, It's not that. It's all about value and what I can flip. I see a huge sell now potential, and maybe there's somebody there that believes that Hollywood Brown can be a top 15, a top 10 now that he's with Kyler Murray. And if you believe that, and the person sees that, and you see that value in that, why not?
Do you have Hollywood in any leagues, by the way? Any of our leagues?
I have to double check. I don't think so.
Okay, I was gonna say let's make it.
I'm happy to trade him for first. Why not take a shot on the first next year? We don't know. I mean, I know that's a risk though, but why not? Why not take that shot? I just see opportunity to sell him rather than keep him, because we don't know what that looks like. What if they don't sign Kyler, which I doubt? What if they don't sign Hollywood, which I doubt? But there's still an if. There's still an if.
So, if the result of this offseason, based off of what Kyler's done, what they've done to help Kyler. Hollywood's not there in Arizona if it's not for Kyler, which means that Kyler's calling the shots. Kyler also has Cliff signed to a long-term contract. Kyler is in the power seat. You know what I mean? Like, if the end result of this offseason is Kyler doesn't, they part ways somehow, which I think is less than 5% chance, and Hollywood doesn't get extended next year, this will be one of the biggest colossal fails for an NFL franchise in a very long time. So,
we'll see. We'll see. I think there's still.
We will see. Comment down below, guys. Let us know what your thoughts are, and yeah, give us reasons why.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos,
watch it.
You can also subscribe
right now
if you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.